The in the lake itself.
All right. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Good morning.
Absolutely no manana whatsoever.
Ooh.
Nothing whatsoever. It's too dangerous, and nobody should have anything whatsoever.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry to interrupt. We are live on YouTube, so let's get the shir started. How's everybody doing? I see they're still coming in, so we'll do some emails. First of all, want to remind the Olam, today is the 7th day of the Omer. If you pay attention, there's a lot of work that goes into each and every one. It's not just changing the number, it's actually changing the tsuras hadaf behind. This is Daf Mem Aleph in the background. Today's shir is being sponsored Lilu Nishmas Harav Moshe ben Yaakov Soled. Soledovnik. That was his name. And I'm going to talk about him because there's a beautiful email that his son, let's see if... All right. Shteit Azoi. First of all, here's a picture of, he's called the Ilui of Pinsker, the Pinsky Ilui, it says here in this piece. It says like this, pretty long email. Maybe I'll see if I could do it all or part of it. Dear Eli, thank you for your amazing shir. I have attended the Sima Shas the past 4 cycles, and each time I came away motivated to learn the daf. I started off strong, of course, and then somewhere along the line I fall off. And then the inspiration of the previous scene becomes a distant memory. Sounds familiar. We've heard the story a number of times. This recent scene, I brought my sons and grandsons to Giant Stadium, and to be honest, I felt somewhat disconnected. Yes, I was besimcha, joining with all my Yiddish brethren and being Messiah Shas. However, why wasn't I being Messiah as well? I was Messiah a few Masechtas over the years, but never the entire Shas, Gan Shas, not even close. So newly inspired, I decided once again to try to find a mahalach to learn the daf. We know whenever there's a desire to learn Torah, there will be obstacles. In this case, I was about to go on a 3-week business trip. And when did I need to leave? Punkt on the day when we began Masechtas Brachas. You like that? Punkt. This guy is yeshivish. Where's he from? I complained that nobody's writing from Passaic. Since then, I got a bunch of Passaic guys. Anyways, he's from Passaic. So punkt on the day that the starting Brachas, January 1st, or whatever it was, January 3rd, he's leaving on a 3-week business trip. So, with all the new online DAF initiatives available, I signed up and downloaded many of them, but none of them grabbed me. Then I decided to check out the 8-minute DAF, which led me to the full DAF. I was immediately attracted by your enthusiasm in giving over the shir, as well as the banter and camaraderie. It's you, Rabbi, so the camaraderie. I felt like I was sitting there with the chevra, and I loved when the oilam started singing a niggin. This is my kind of chevra. On Av Gimel, you said something that has kept me going since. It's not about the daf, it's about the yomi. Unbelievable, because look, we're talking about Pesach. Every day of Pesach. Motzei Pesach, when 90% of Klal Yisrael is putting away the boxes and all this, it's about the yomi. Every single day, right, Avi? You look bored. Every single day.
I just woke up.
Noam, where were you last night? Don't tell me. You were here, you're not here. No.
I'm muted.
Yeah. I know where my boys are and where they're not. You were helping the wife. That's okay. By the way, I finished shir. My wife gave it to me. She said, what kind of business is telling the oilam not to help the wives? She doesn't get my humor yet. She doesn't get it. All right, so it says like this. It's not about the daf, it's about the yomi. Be'ezra Hashem, I hope to stick with your shir until we are Messiah Shas together and go on the cruise. That I added that. P.S. My son's Menal in Mesifta of Clifton is Rabbi Yaakov Mordechai Zaks. And I showed my son the clip of your story when you were both chavrusas in the mirror, and he threw your yarmulke out of the window. You guys remember this story? And he told it over to him. He said it happened a bit differently, but I like your version better. Of course he said it happened differently because he didn't look good in the story. All right, I'm sponsoring the Daf Mem Aleph, on my father's yortzeit, Chav Beis Nisan Lilu Nishmas Harav Moshe Soled ben Yaakov Soled Davnik. My father was a tremendous Talmid Chacham who learned in Radin when the Chavetz Chaim Zichron Levrach was alive. My grandfather also learned in Radin, and he was named the Ilui of leader, the leader Ilui, but he's the Pinsker Ilui. Kids are everybody Iluim, and then was Mishamish the Stipler in Nevardik. He's the only member of his immediate family to escape Europe, traveling through Kobe, Japan, before arriving in the U.S. His first shtel in Rabbonis is pictured, attached and below on the right with Rav Mordechai Mendel Zaks. This is him. All right. Shmak, Ilui from Pinsk. Along with Rav Rabbanim from the Radin Yeshiva. Unfortunately, this will be the first time, listen to this, Rabbi Isai. This will be the first time in 27 years that I'll be unable to say Kaddish from my father's Yodzeit. Since there are no minyanim. But that's Ratzon Abayra, and that's what your father wants, and there will be a covenant for your father, and you're not going to Shul, and you're not going to Minyan. Kol Tuv, Yaakov Solid, Passaic, New Jersey. By the way, I learned with Yaakov Mordechai Zaks. I started out Chavrusa with him in Passaic, New Jersey. All right, so that's that. Rabbi Isai, let's see today's daf. If you turn, we're on daf Mem Aleph Amid Aleph. That's today's daf. We're starting from the bottom of Mem Amid Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. If you turn the page, a little bit of a surprise, there's only about 10 lines. It's a very short Amid. And lucky for us, we're doing Daf Yomi without Tosfos. So therefore, it should not be that much of an issue, Amid Beis. Says the Gemara, Omer Reb Zeira. Ano chazite l'Rebabo d'shot ambati. I saw, so this is Reb Zeira talking about Rebavo. Reb Zeira and Rebavo. I saw Rebavo swimming in a bathtub. Now, it's usher to go swimming in a public pool because of Chavish Shayatim. Here's a picture of Chavish Shayatim, this guy right over here, otherwise known as a life preserver. This is the old-fashioned one. They take a bunch of reeds, put it together. Chavish, they made a barrel, a floating barrel. Chavish Shayatim. So we're concerned that you're going to go swimming, you want to save yourself, you're going to want to be careful and everything. So therefore, by the way, anybody on YouTube, because I can't see if this is crooked or not. I don't know. Let me just, Mayor's not here. Fine. Chavish Shayatim. So what about a pool in your backyard? Now, obviously, the water was from Chamei Tveria. Otherwise, we would have a problem of, or maybe cold water. But he didn't know. He said, I don't know if Reb Abba was floating, were his feet on the ground. What exactly happening over there? Okay? Says the Gemara, Pshita Delay Okar. Obviously, Reb Abba's feet were on the ground. He wasn't floating. He wasn't swimming. Yosef Furman, I love your picture in the background. Givaldik, the two brothers. I don't know if you could see, but that's in the shaving days. By me, it's in the corner, top corner. But he looks like my brother, Yosef Furman, and he has a picture over there. Okay. Pshita de loyokar, the sign of loyoshalam bebreichem leyamayim. Vafilu emes b'chotzer. You're not allowed to float in a pool. I don't care if it's in your backyard. You cannot float in a pool because of this problem. Maybe you'll make a life preserver. Says the Gemara loikashio, ha de lesle gidudei, ha de isle gidudei. There are two pshatim in Rashi. Take this pshat, let's say. Here's gidudei. Gidudei is the red line. If it goes straight down, according to this pshat in Rashi, then it's not such a problem. This is the problem. If it goes in gradually, so you might step over here and you'll mix up the dirt, and it's migabel, says Rashi. Another pshat that he brings is that it has like a little bit of a lip. So it looks like a pool. You could tell that this is a pool and not a river. If it's a private pool, it has a little bit of a lip coming up right over here. That's the other pshat. The bottom line is, there's a difference between Gidudei and not Gidudei. If if it has this gradual, like going into an ocean, it starts off shallow and keeps on going, that's a problem because you're going to mix up the dirt. But if you just jump right in, it's not a problem. And Rabba had this, you jumped right in, it wasn't a problem. Or he had a little bit of a lip on top, so you could tell that it was a private swimming pool, and therefore, no issue. Next sugya, Daf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph on top, brand new sugya. Va'omer Reb Zera, again, the same Reb Zera that we just discussed. Anoch Hazidi L'Rebavo, the same Rebavo that he saw swimming, and that's why the Gemara brings it, because they're the same names. Shiniach Yodav Keneged Panav Shalmata. He was acting in tznius. He concealed his private parts with his hand. V'lo inoga ilo inoga. I couldn't tell if he was actually touching his private parts or he's just concealing it. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? Pshita lo inoga. What's the question? Of course, Rebbe Avo didn't touch his privates. The Sanya Rebbe Lezer Oimer, whoever holds on to his bris and goes to the bathroom, Rashi says that the oynesh of Dor HaMabo is because they're over on Huitzah Zer Levatala, on Keri. So by holding on, it's Ki'ilu, you bring a Mabel to the world. Impossible that Rebavo touched his bris. Says the Gemara, well, there's a time that you could. If you are in fear, or you have your thoughts in other places, so we're not concerned that you're going to be Moitzi Zera. It's Gemara and Avodah Zara. We learned this together. If you have soldiers that come into a city, and we're talking about Yain Nesach, so what does a soldier have on his mind? If he's in war, he's in constant fear for his life. So he doesn't have a second to stop and start making avodah zara, taking other people's wine, stealing their wine, and saying, "Oh, this is for my God." He's constantly thinking, "Who's shooting him? Who should he kill?" He's not going to stop and start making avodah zara now. So it says, if there's peace, says Rashi, so these guys, why do they come into your city? Because they're part of your army. You live in Russia, so the Russian army comes into your house. So you got to be careful. Every open barrel becomes Yain Nesach. You have to assume that this Russian soldier decided to make Yain Nesach to your open barrel. Stumais Mutaris, if they're completely sealed, he's not going to open up the barrel, do avodah zara, and seal the barrel where you're not going to be able to tell. He doesn't have time for that. But if it's during wartime, elu ve'elu mutaris, during war, where's this guy's mind? On war. So Memela, Rebavo, where's his mind? His mind is on not dying from the water, not falling into the water. He's not thinking about Huitzah Zer Levatala. He can't have any hirurim. Hachanami kivin devayis le'osid le'harurei. Since he's scared, he's not going to have any other thoughts. V'achamai bi'asusa dinaharo. He's not in the Nahar yet, because it says that he's covering himself. He's on the bank of the Nahar, but he's concentrating. He's walking and he's stepping over stones. He has to concentrate here. He doesn't have time for Yerurib. So maybe you could be Mechalik. We even had more than that. We had in Ksubis, we didn't learn it together, but in Ksubis, the famous Gemara that there was a Tana that put a kal on his shoulders, and he had no Yerurim. He was in Domi Alaychu Kishura, if it's like I'm jumping to another thing, but the point is, it has to do each person with his mind. So in other words, he cannot have Yerurim right now because he's concentrating on something else. So maybe it's mutter for him. But in general, nobody should touch it. Fine. Eini v'omer Rab Abba omer Rav Huna omer Rav. Kol ameniach yodav keneged ponav shel mata. Is Menachem Mata on today? Anybody see him? Nothing? Don't see him. Okay. So maybe somebody else could help me out. No, he's very good at
He's helping his wife clean still. They're up still. It's about 7:30 in the morning cleaning.
My wife said it's not a big deal to make Pesach. She didn't realize after 26 years, she was a big deal. To a half an hour, boom, 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 in, out. Now, in America, it's different. It's a whole, you have to take care. Over here, this little tiny kitchen.
Take a video of that statement. She'll forget that next year.
She didn't really say it. I'm saying she would have probably said this. I mean, why not? When I was done with the shear, at 10 o'clock, the kitchen was all chametz. There's a bunch of boxes. She punished me. She gave me like a job. She said, okay, now you have to take these boxes. Oh, okay. And that was it. So I didn't take them, of course. I'm waiting for later on, but Yeshua said he'll take them and finished. And I'm serious. It wasn't that, I don't know about you guys. Maybe because we didn't have like everything from the years before. We had a very simple Pesach and it was finished. What, an hour. Everybody helped and shalom. Fine. I don't know. It's not such a... So, no, because why do I want Menachem Ater? Because he can find this easily for me in the Mishnah Berurah. I just remember the Mishnah Berurah brings this halacha. I don't remember where. Probably in the beginning of the Mishnah Berurah, somewhere like in the Hilchas Tznius or something. The Mishnah Berurah talks about that you're not allowed to be embarrassed of your bris milah. By putting your hands, by covering it, going somewhere like to the mikveh, and being embarrassed is a problem, he says. It's like you're kofer baker. I remember learning, like, what? But here's the Gemara. If you cover yourself, you're embarrassed of a bris milah. You're embarrassed of the bris of Avram Avinu. In other words, this problem you don't have by a woman. A man, he's embarrassed of a bris. So you're right, it is a problem. When you go into the river, so your back is facing everybody, so now there's no problem with tznius. So why are you covering yourself? Because you're embarrassed of Avram Avinu. You're embarrassed of the bris of Avram Avinu. You have no business covering. But when you come up out of the river, you're facing everybody. Now there's an issue of tznius. Yes, you should act with tznius. Now we don't say, don't be embarrassed of Avram Avinu, of the bris of Avram Avinu. You should cover. Haki salik, when you come out of the river, cover up. Bitzanua. I don't know if it's in that place, but the whole Mishnah Berurah, like even when you're in your own room getting dressed at night, you should act with tznius. You should be under a robe. But over there's no, I'm embarrassed of the bris of Avram Avinu. You have to act with tznius. Like in the bathroom, 2 tefachim, 1 tefach. There's always these halachas of tznius. Kihad Rava Shachei. Rava or Rabba, there's in Shas, there's always every time it says Rava, you see in this.
Why is your bedroom any different? If going into the river, going in and you're
No, because in the bedroom now it's between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so you have to act with tznius. You're not embarrassed of the bris of Avram Avinu. But when you're in front of people, it looks as if you don't want them to see that you're mole, that you have a bris. You're embarrassed of that. Like a person tucked in his tzitzis. He's embarrassed of the guy, and they'll think, he's Jewish. But between you and Hashem, you're not embarrassed that you're Jewish, so you have to act like b'tznius. I'm just saying, I don't know, I might be wrong. Rava would bend over. Bending over, you conceal it a little bit. Reb Zera Zakif. So this is the Reb Zera that we're talking about. He saw Reb Avo covering himself. So Reb Zera would stand up straight. He would be proud. He wouldn't try to conceal his bris. Rabbanan Debi Rav Ashi, Ki konachti zakfi. When they went in to the water, they stood up straight. Again, because they're not facing anybody. There's no problem with tznius. It's just between you and Hashem. So Mela, you stand up straight. You don't cover anything. Ki kosalki. But when maybe, you know what? No, I'm thinking now again. Maybe we're talking about a shower. So there's not really like you're going into the pool. You're gonna be naked anyway. So there's not like a whole bunch of tznius going on there. So what? For that moment that you went in, you shouldn't be covering up. I don't know. Ki kosalki shachi. But when they came out of the river, these students of Rav Ashi, they didn't want to show that they're embarrassed of the bris of Avram Avinu, so they would bend over, and that would conceal it a little bit. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Zera hava komishtamet mit Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Zera was trying to avoid Rabbi Yehuda. Why? The boy lemesak l'Ardi Yisrael. Rabbi say again. Now, like I said, we're already over 100 daf into Shas. Now we start having references. Ari, you remember this, Mr. Chazara? Reb Zera was worried that Rabbi Yehuda is going to stop him. Why? Because it says the boiler makes the ladder of Yisrael. He wanted to make Aliyah. Reb Zera wanted to make Aliyah. He was scared to bump into Rabbi Yehuda. The Omer Rabbi Yehuda, say, whoever moves from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael, says Rabbi Yehuda, it's an Isser. Shenemar bovelo yivo, b'shama yiu, I'm going to send you into Galus, into Bavel. You need to stay there, remain there, ad yoim pak di oisam is the end of the pasuk, until Mashiach comes. You have no right moving from Bavel, from America, to Eretz Yisrael, says Rav Yehuda. So no, anybody remember this Gemara? We had these exact words, just it was a different, it wasn't Reb Zera. Over there it was Reb Abba.
Ari Mosaic said it's Reb Abba.
Very good.
And in Ksubis it's Reb Zera.
Right, and Ksubas is the same exact story, word for word, basically. But in Brachas, it's a different story. But it's very interesting because the words are all the same, just you insert another person, and the halacha is different. But the beginning, the end, everything is like literally word for word. So I'm scared to bump into Rabbi Yehuda. He's going to stop me. You know, my grandfather, Rabbi Savitsky, he was in Europe, and a lot of people had this problem. The Rabbanim said, don't go to America. And he got into like a fight with the Gol Adar. He told him, don't go. And he said, I got to go, I got to save my life. Anyways, it was the same kind of idea. Well, over there it was because, don't go, America's terrible, and the Germans, whatever. Over here, it's Isser Deraisa, he's telling him. He says, you cannot go to Eretz Yisrael. So, but Rashi here says something a little different than Brachas. Rashi adds here, very interesting, that V'yarei pen yigzor olav melelech. Reb Zera was concerned that Reb Yehuda is going to make a gzeira. You know, like these, my son-in-law tells me about these gzeiras. The Rabbanim in Lakewood made a gzeira that you're not allowed to daven on a porch or whatever, like different Rabbanim, like gzeira. What gzeira? I tell him there's no gzeiras in our days. Gzeira, fine. He holds this gzeira, that a Rav can make a gzeira on everybody else. Like, he was telling me that Rabbi Cohen, Rav David Cohen, said it's usher for people in Eretz Yisrael to daven on a porch. But he's in America, the Rabbanim here said you could, whatever, fine, lo mashana. But Rav Yehuda could make a gzeira.
Hold on. Is that why Meir, we don't see Meir on the balcony?
Yes. He beshita won't daven on the porch. Go have it out with him. We had a screaming match. First time, that's what I'm saying. He holds the halacha because he called Rav David Cohen, and Rav David Cohen said it's asr. But I said that's in America where they don't keep the rules. Over here, Baruch Hashem, in Ramat Bet Shemesh, in our neighborhood, there's not a single case of corona that I know of. Nobody was nifter, nobody has it, nobody this. I don't know, and everybody's very careful. They're all in our minyan, I mean, Noam, Menachem Mata, it's like people are they're in their porch, nobody goes around. Besides Dr. Dinner and Galerenter, they're like 5 feet away from each other and they have a bush.
They're confusing porches in the backyard in America where you go on your backyard, your porch, everybody comes together here.
I know. So I told him, I said, you sure they understand that you're in your own domain? And then he starts pulling out different halachas that it might be usr. There's just a rabbim in between. But Rav Asher Weiss talks about it. He says, once you're above 10 tefachim, there's already no rishus. The rishus, whatever. Lo b'shana. That's his thing. And yesterday he davened v'sikin. In his defense, he davened v'sikin. He davened early. It's not like he's trying to, but whatever. Yeah.
Okay. We have a new guy on from Modi'in. Donnie Fine got his father to join. Tzvi Fine from Modi'in.
Welcome, Reb Tzvi Fine. Well, it's after the email. You see what happened there? Okay, maybe it's a good thing. Once the email was read, then he got his father on. Fine. All right, welcome, Mr. Rabbi Fine. Says the Gemara. Omar Ezel v'eshma minei milsa. Exactly like the Gemara in Brachas. So, but what's Reb Zera holding here? So Rashi brings the Gemara in Ksubas. Reb Zera, obviously he heard the pasuk that Reb Yehuda says. He says, I don't agree with that pasuk. That pasuk is not talking about humans. It's talking about the kalim of the Beis Hamikdash. That's what I'll bring back to Eretz Yisrael. Fine. So they had their little argument, but he said, listen, let me chop around one last Dvar Torah from my Rebbe. Omar Ezel v'eshma minei milsa v'aisi v'esak. I'll get this piece and I'm going to go up to Eretz Yisrael, word for word, like what happened with Reb Abba. So he goes and he sees that Rav Yehuda is in the bathhouse. And Rav Yehuda tells his shamash, what's a good word for shamash? His helper, his right-hand man, his gabai. Okay, his gabai, that's a good one. Bring me some mineral called Neser that I could wash my hair with. Yeah. Today we have it easy. We have nice shampoo. It's a good liquid. In those days, it takes sand like a bird and put it in their hair. Oh, I wash my hair. Haviuli masrig, bring me a comb. Now, if you notice, haviuli is in Hebrew. It's in Lashon Kodesh. Haviuli neser. Haviuli masrig, bring me a comb. Masrig is in Lashon Kodesh. And then he flips it into Aramaic. He goes right back to the spoken language. Pischu pumaychu, open up your mouths. Va'apiku hevla, inhale steam. V'ishsu memaya, this is disgusting. Take a nice cup from inside the mikvah and swallow it. Noam gave me this face. Mamish, like I'm sitting here at the Olam. Take that disgusting mikvah water and swallow it. It's good for you. And I need you to drink some of this water from the bathhouse. Now, it doesn't really mean necessarily the hot water from the bathhouse. It means hot water. But guess what? You don't have hot water. You're in the schwitz. You're in the middle of the mikvah. Well, all of a sudden you're going to get a cup of coffee. So you take what you have and you drink from the mikvah. The Gemara is going to explain why. This is the halacha, Rabbi said. To drink from the mikvah is the halacha that he heard and he never understood. He never knew this, and he's very happy that he heard this before he went to Eretz Yisrael. Omar, if it's not only for this one halacha, dayai. And the exact same thing is what Rabbi Abba said in Brachas. If I just came to hear this halacha about hafacha, if I have to have a hafacha in shul, what do? I walk away. For a guy ate a good chont, what does he do? He has to walk 4 Amaz away from himself, not to smell it up, whatever. Fine, that was that halacha there. So what's the first part? First part is he spoke in Lashon Kodesh. He said, bring me a comb. I need to comb my beard. I need to comb my hair, whatever he was combing. Right? Where do we have this? Last night. If I'm just saying nothing to do with Torah, get me a comb is not a halacha. It's like, bring me a piece of pizza, nothing to do with halacha. So you're allowed to talk in Lashon Kodesh. Why is Hill Abrams upside down? That I don't have. Okay, so I'm allowed to talk in Lashon Kodesh even in the bathhouse. You're allowed to talk in Lashon, even though it's a holy language, you're allowed to talk in Lashon Kodesh in the bathhouse. Open up your mouth, inhale the steam. You want to sweat it out? You want to sweat the bad stuff in your body to leave your body? You need to inhale the steam. What's going on here? Why should I drink from the mikvah? Says the Gemara, this is the answer. This Sanya. If a person eats, these are general rules, like things you'd find in the Rambam, how to act. If you eat without drinking, I just mentioned the Rambam, the Rambam, the people that have this diet, the Rambam diet, they don't drink while they eat, but after. If you eat and you don't drink, achilas dam. It's as if you lose blood, or some people say it means you're drinking blood, whatever. It's not good for you. It's like you're losing blood. That's the start of a disease of the intestines. Yeah, you need to drink after you eat. I guess the Gemara held that, I don't know, it's good for the digestive system, whatever it is. If you eat and you didn't walk 4 hours, 8 feet, I once saw, they said about Rav Moshe Feinstein, he was very makpid on this. Like every time he ate, he walked 4 Amaz, even when he was very old and frail. You don't want bad breath, especially if you're Rav Moshe Feinstein, seeing all these people, you don't want bad breath. You don't want your food to rot inside your stomach. You walk it off. I think even today they have such a concept. After Shabbos meal, you take a nice walk, you walk it off. If somebody needs to go to the bathroom and he eats, it's like using old coals. You can't use old ashes, so you don't eat on top of old food that you have to get rid of. It's not good for you. You know those people with bad body odor? It's because of this. They eat instead of going to the bathroom. When they have to go to the bathroom, they eat. This gives bad, the entire body sweats and it smells bad. Here's the halacha. you bathe yourself in hot water and you don't drink from the hot water. What does Gimel say here real quickly? Nothing that I could see. Maybe he takes out the word mehem. That could be, I don't know what he says. It says agois yavis. Maybe it just means you have to drink hot water, but it doesn't mean mehem. Maybe that just to calm people like, no, I'm down. In other words, whatever you try to achieve with this hot bath is not going to help your body. You know, you're not taking the bath just because you want to rinse yourself off. You're taking the bath because you want it for medical purposes, whatever it is. So it's as if you heated up an oven from the outside. Yeah, you have a hot body from the outside. What good is your skin hot if the inside of your body is not hot? You have to have the whole thing hot from in and out. So therefore, you must drink hot water. If you wash yourself off in hot water and you don't rinse yourself off with cold water, you need to rinse yourself off with cold water. It's like making iron. You put it into a fire. When you're done and the metal is soft, the iron is soft, you put it into cold. That hardens it. If you bathe yourself and you don't put on some oil like we had yesterday, remember the whole machlokes of oil. How is there bishul in oil? And if there is bishul in oil, what temperature? And the one man the Amaz said, even lukewarm is considered bishul. Why? Because of this. People used to take oil and smear themselves with the oil. In other words, that's its gmar malacha. To get it just slightly warm, lukewarm, is already gmar malacha. That's why we said yesterday it's considered bishul. So rachatz v'loisach, you don't put this oil on. Water on top of a barrel obviously doesn't penetrate the barrel. So if you don't use oil, whatever beneficial properties you're trying to get from this hot bath, it's not going to penetrate the body, and therefore you should use oil. That's the end of that. Brand new Mishnah. Mulyar hagorof. Mulyar. What's a mulyar? By the way, does anybody know Yoni the artist? Yoni the artist, I just realized, I should have thought about this earlier. Here's his mulyar. Beautiful pictures. The guy is an incredible artist. I don't know if he took it from this, they're very, very similar. Just, this guy from Pirush Chai is more into the halacha. He's extremely versed in the halacha. He does a very good job of not messing up halacha here. And Yoni is just Yoni. He's on a whole different level, I think. You can see Yoni it's the same thing, but he has like a little shovel of coals. You could see the coals over here, right over here. Anyway, if somebody knows Yoni, I'd like to get permission from him. I'll try to call him up later today. Get permission to use his. That's one sefer I don't have. I didn't realize how good he is. And that he has on Shabbos also, on every Mishnah. Fine. Anyways, this is mulyar. This is my added color I did. So, wrong one. Sorry. That was Antichi. We're going to get there in a second. Mulyar, not as colorful. But you see over here, right over here, this guy. Outside of this thing holds water. Outside of it is a place to put your coals. Right over here is coals. So what happens is it's garuf. What does garuf mean? Coals removed. Remove the coals. No more coals over here. Shoisim imeno b'Shabbos. You're allowed to drink from this. You're allowed to open this up and drink. Why? Because this is not Moisef Helvel, says Rashi. Other Rishonim learn differently. Taisis, whatever. But this as is not going to add heat. Yes, maybe the first 5 minutes is going to increase the heat, but eventually over Shabbos, the heat dissipates, the walls become cooler, and that's it. The water is not being Moisef Helvel. So I'm allowed to drink from it. Antichi, and now this is Antichi. As the Gemara is going to describe, similar device but very different. You have 2 floors here. You can see this is divided, this is a piece of metal or whatever in the Antichi. Level 1 are the coals, and then on top of that is the water. Now obviously this device is going to be a lot hotter than the first one that we saw, that the coals are on the outside. this actually traps in a lot of the heat from the coals, and therefore over Shabbos it's constantly giving heat to the kli. And the water gets hotter as time goes on. That's Moisef Hevel, Ava Pisha Grufa, even if you remove the coals, but that compartment below is trapping the heat. Ein Shoisim, Mimeno, Heimeno, and that's it. You can't drink from it. Now, all the Rishonim discuss here that we learned, don't forget, we learned about Hananya. Let's not forget, Avi's on his porch, Givaldig, getting ready for Shachris. I don't know, in Chicago it's probably snowing. I don't know what the weather is like in America. It's beautiful weather here in Eretz Yisrael. So, we learned about Hananya, and we even said that the halacha is like Hananya. It seemed like from Rashi, Tosis, halacha is like Hananya. That what? Hananya says that if you have food that's kemach ben drusai, it's
I just got a text from Mayor that it's usher for me to even sit on my porch.
It's not a joke. According to him, it might be a problem. He says during davening, you're not allowed to just hang out on the porch. He's concerned that the virus travels through the air. It could go hundreds of feet. Whatever. Lamashana. I'm not gonna tell my daughter to divorce him over that, but it was touch and go over Yontif. Yeah. I go on him. Levi, I missed you. Levi, where were you last night? An Erev Yontif, I don't know. It's been a few days. Levi, it's been a few days. Don't do one of these. You're stuck in your house. No, actually, you're at Solid Guys. I don't know. Every day from now on. So what's going on here? So we have Hananya that says you're allowed to do shihiyah. You're allowed to leave food on your kira, on your oven, from before Shabbos into Shabbos, as long as your food is kemach ben drusai. So what about this water? So they say, you have to say that the water is not kemach ben drusai. In other words, it wasn't heated up completely. Or, what else do they say? Hold on, this is embarrassing, but I gotta take care of something. Hold on. I'm not going to tell you who's here. It's my anacle. The four-legged anacle just showed up into the room. So I got to get him out of here. Fine. Tana, don't tell anybody. Whatever. It's not. It's my son's dog. It's a whole zach. The Shiva forced me to get him. Fine. So Kamach ben Drusai, or here's a very nice one that Tosis talks about. That we're talking about atmana, right? Because this is an enclosed vessel. So Memela, this is atmana, say these Rishonim, and not so much bishul, like on the top of a kira, it's like on top of a stove. So that's different. Over there it says Chananya, yes, you can leave it on top of a stove. But atmana, to bury it inside a vessel like this is mamish burying. Look. No, this is burying. It's in here. So therefore, that's different. That's why you can't. Says the Gemara, Echidami Mulyar Hagorov. What are we talking about? What are we discussing here? What's Mulyar? Hana, one pshat is Mayhem mibifnim v'gecholim mibachutz. So that fits in right with this pshat over here. Mayhem mibifnim.
It has to be from all sides. It has to be on top also.
No.
That's a big machlokas rishonim, no?
No. What is this?
No, it has to be close.
What?
Not so far away. I think it has to be close to it.
Why? I don't know. I don't know that you're right. This is completely. It's completely enclosed. You're saying it has to be like that. Okay, so let's say you are right, which I doubt. Well, the blanket has to be touching 100% the thing. But let's say you're right. So then they'll say that this thing is full of water till the tippy top. You could always get out of it. I'll call upon him. Antichi. What's Antichi? The second device. Rabba Omar Beikire. So Rabbi says, different than that picture I showed you before. I showed you this guy. That's the next pshat coming in. Rabbi says it's this. Basically, this is a kira, right? And you put a pot on top. But in addition to this area, it has an area with water. What's going on here? Why water? Because in those days, we have it also in our cars, you know? We have this water so that the engine doesn't blow up. They put water to cool it off. In those days, they didn't want the heat of the oven to destroy the oven, it'll just pop. So they put this water device here. So that's why, that's Beikire. But this is extremely, extremely hot, as Rashi says, that it's there all week. these coals are there all week. I guess it makes a big difference how long it's there. 2 hours versus an entire week, like a good matzah oven. So it's extremely hot, and therefore you have the problem of moisef hevel. It just continuously gives off heat. You can remove the coals all you want. This device is going to be extremely hot the whole Shabbos. It's going to be moisef hevel. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar Beidudei. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says this pshat. It's 2 compartments. Beidudei. Mando Amar Beidudei. If you say it's this, so certainly this. This is much hotter. Rashi explains because of the whole week thing. Umando Amar Beikirei. But if you say that this is osur, then this would be mutter. So basically, we have a machlokes about this. This is the machlokes right here. This guy right over here, 100% mutter on Shabbos. Why? Because the coals are outside. This guy right over here, everybody would say is osur, has tremendous amount of heat. The question is, if the Mishnah is even talking about this, this is a double level dud. So Menachem bar Yitzchak says this is osur. And Rabbah is going to say, only this is asur, the beikira, but not this. This doesn't have enough heat to make it asur on Shabbos. We have a right to Rav Nachman that we're talking about a 2-story dud. Antiche, it says in the Brayis, even if you remove the coals, ain't choisim, you cannot drink from it. Why? Chushta means the shulayim, says Rashi, the bottom. The bottom is heating it up. So obviously we're talking about a 2-level device, and the bottom is heating it up. So we're talking about a 2-level device, not a side-by-side device. Otherwise it wouldn't say nechushta. Nechushta means the bottom. So we have to be talking about a case of Rav Nachman. Fine. Says the Mishnah, Hamecham Shipino, if you remove the kettle from the fire, lo yitel netoichet tzoinen b'shvil sheyichamu. Do not pour cold water into a kettle that just was removed from the fire. Why are you doing so? Because you want to heat up the water. It's asur. You're allowed to put water in to make it lukewarm. What's going on here? What, I have a thermometer? I know if it's going to be hot or lukewarm. Well, what's the Mishnah saying? I cannot put water in there in order so that they should be hot, but I could put in there in order they should be warm. Michael Omar, what's going on? Omar Rav Bar Masna, Hachi Go Omar, Hameicham Shipino Mimeno Mayim Chamim Lo Yitin L'Toicha Mayim Mu'atim Kedei Sheyichamu. If I remove all the water from the kettle, now I have an empty kettle, I cannot put inside a small amount of water, Kedei Sheyichamu, in order that they should be hot. So he makes a distinction between a lot of water and not a lot of water. A lot of water is not going to be very hot because now this small kettle has to heat up a lot and it's not going to be able to. But if you put a small amount of water into a very hot kettle that just came off the oven, you're going to make it hot, and that's bishul. Turn the page, Daf Mem Aleph Amud Beis. Ask the Gemara of Aloy Mitzaref. He's hardening it. Rabbi Say, from Masechtas Brachas all the way till today, where do we learn this concept of mitzaref, of hardening the metal? Anybody remember? Ari? No? Somebody unmute Ari.
Just a couple days ago, no?
Close. Anybody else? Anybody know where we learned this musig? Rabbi Say, we learned it 5 minutes ago. One of the things, sorry, Noam. One of the things he said in the bathhouse was that if you wash your body with hot water and you don't put cold water on yourself, you're like a piece of iron. It's like a piece of iron. Huh?
Jonathan Stefansky got it.
All right, Jonathan. At least the Stefansky chapped on. Baruch Hashem. From the whole Olam. We have 86 people today. It's shvach. I'm not going to lie, it's shvach, but it's matzah yontiv. And people are having constipation problems, and they were up all night helping their wives putting the... So 86, we'll take 86. I have no idea how many people are on YouTube because it's not facing me. I'll call upon him. Usually it's about 70, 80 total in YouTube. Today not. So, there's a concept called hardening. You have a piece of metal that's soft. Once you heat it up, it's really soft. You got to put it in the cold water, and that hardens it. Says the Gemara, that's not a problem. Why? And what's the problem of hardening it, by the way? Makeh bepatish. It's the last bang of the hammer to finish off this product. You have a beautiful kli, and now you need to finish it with cold water. Says the Gemara, Rebbe Shimon. This is the famous Rebbe Shimon that we touched about it yesterday. The Amar Dover Shemiskaven Mutar. If I don't have intent to harden it, why am I putting my water into the kli? Because I want hot water, I want to warm it up. As a side effect, it's going to harden the kli. That's Dover Shemiskaven. Immediately, Taisis jumps in and says what he says at every time that the Gemara brings it. Not every time, but you have to make sure that it's not 100%. It's not a psikresha. If 100% this kli is going to harden, then it doesn't matter that you don't have kavana. It has to be a 50-50 kind of thing, like dragging a bench. If 100% you're going to make a hole in the ground, then it's us to drag the bench. It's only because I don't know, I might make a hole in the ground, I might not make a hole in the ground. So it cannot be a psik ratio. Fine, that's sugya. It doesn't fit so well into the Mishnah. The wording in the Mishnah is Mayhem Shepinohu Kotani. It doesn't say that you remove the water. What's the echatim of the Gemara? You took all the water out of the kettle, and now you're filling up a little bit is aser, a lot of bit is mutter. But it doesn't say that you remove the water. It says you took the kettle off the fire. Shipinahu, singular. You took it off the flame. This is the pshat. You're right. If this kettle, you took it off the flame, you took it off the fire, and it has some water left in, you should not put more water in there, a small amount of water, because that will heat it up and that's mevashel. You took off the kettle off the flame, and there's some water in there, you're allowed to put a lot of water, you're allowed to add a lot, because that will just make it lukewarm, it won't cook it. And if you removed all the water from it, then you're not allowed to put any amount of water in it, because that is going to create the hardening of the kli, and that's awesome. Rabbi Yehuda, and this goes, says Abaya, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda. The Mishnah is going like Rabbi Yehuda that argues with the Rabbi Shimon, even though I don't have any intent to harden my kli, it's also because it's happening, it's going to happen, therefore even a small amount of water, if you don't have any water in the, so again, he says, it's talking about that he took it off the flame, but there was some water in there. So you're allowed to add a small amount, you're not allowed to add a large amount. But if there's no water at all in this kettle, it's dried up and just extremely hot off the oven, off the stove, it's usher to add any water because Davar Sheni Miskavin is usher. So even if I have no intent to harden it, it's going to harden it, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's usher. We're going to explain exactly. You're only allowed to cool off, but you're not allowed to harden. Yeah, that's not a big chiddush. But the Gemara explains. You're allowed to harden the kli. What are you talking about? You're allowed to harden the kli on Shabbos. That's maki b'patish. This is what I meant. An amount that could make it lukewarm. What's that amount? Says Rashi, and then according to Rashi, we're only going like Rashi. Otherwise, we have to do this large taisel. We finished at 11 o'clock. L'tzaref, says Rashi, means to fill up the water all the way to the tippy top. That's how you harden a kli. Some explain because the softening happens over here, next to the rib, not so much down here. So if I want to harden my kli, I need to fill it up all the way to the top. Okay, great. But anything less than that is mutter. I could put the water in if it's less than all the way to the top, because now I'm only putting the water in to warm it up and not to harden it. Ushmul Amar, afilu chir litzaref mutar, and Shmuel says, I'm allowed to fill it up all the way to the tippy top. Why? Because obviously Shmuel holds like Reb Shimon that Davar she'eina miskaven, since I don't have intent to harden it, I don't care how much water I put in, even if it'll end up hardening my kli, that wasn't my intent. My intent was just to warm up the water. Shmuel, but wait a minute. Shmuel holds not like Reb Shimon in another halacha. You find, this happens a lot, you find something dangerous in Rosh Hashanah. So this is a case where you find a glowing hot piece of steel. Somebody's going to step on it, Rahman al-Islam. Big danger. I could extinguish, I could pour cold water on it, and I'm fine. But if it's a coal, I'm not allowed to. What's the difference? Because a glowing metal is not real fire, but a hot piece of wood, that's fire. That spark in it is fire, and now I am extinguishing a fire d'oraisa. The other one is only with the Rabbanon. Now, according to Reb Shimon, this is another machlokes Reb Shimon and Reb Yehuda. Nothing to do with our machlokes now. This is the machlokes we had, that melacha shein tzricha legufa. Remember, we had this concept, and we had this by extinguishing a wick. What's melacha shein tzricha legufa? If I don't need the actual melacha, I want the fire to be gone, but I don't want the outcome. I'm not trying to be creative. I'm not creating anything by extinguishing the fire. So when it comes to wood, we said you are being creative. You're creating a coal. You're creating that black on top of a wick, and I like that. So that's creating. But if I'm just extinguishing a flame without creating anything, that's melacha shein tzrich legufa. Like removing a dead person from a house. I didn't create anything. I just got rid of a bad smell. That's not a melacha according to Reb Shimon. Now all of a sudden, when it comes to melacha shein tzrich legufa, Shmuel does not hold like Reb Shimon. So what's the obvious answer to this, Rabbi Isai? It's two different halachas. Yes, over here he doesn't hold like Reb Shimon, and over here he does hold like Reb Shimon. Just because he holds like Reb Shimon in one place, he has to hold like Reb Shimon in the entire Shas? Taisus asked the question. Shem Iskaven Sava like Reb Shimon. Melacha Shem Tzrich Legufa, says the Gemara, I'm sorry. B'dava Shem Iskaven, when it comes to that halacha of our halacha over here, that I'm not intending to harden the kli, Sava like Reb Shimon. He does hold like Reb Shimon. Melacha Shem Tzrich Legufa, Sava like Reb Yehuda. So let's just finish this up. Hilkach, Ravina Hilkach, Koitz B'Shus Rabim. So this is halacha l'maisa. If I find a thorn in a public domain, and you see little kids running around without their shoes on, a piece of glass, I could move it for less than 4 amas at a time, because moving it less than 4 amas at a time is asur midrabanan, but Rabbanan were makbid when I'm trying to save somebody's foot. Carmela is afilu Tuva. Carmela is the whole rishus of a Carmela is midrabanan to begin with. Then over there they certainly didn't care. Rabbanan, who invented this isser of carrying less than 4 amas, also invented the isser of carrying in a Carmel, which is like a rishus rabin but less than 16 amas wide, or anything like that, which we discussed in the Minimus. So they said, in order to save other people from injury, you're allowed to move a koitz. Have a wonderful, wonderful Gishmak day, and now Noam is going to lead us with some Tehillim. Take it.
Shir Malois, Mimama Kim Kosicha Adonai.
Shir Malois, Mimama Kim Kosicha Adonai.
Adonai Shema B'Kaliti, and Oiznecha Kadosh Lakol Kach Adonai.
Adonai Shema.